Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this community showdown. It's going to be the Tomb Kings led by Mongo facing off against the Dinosaurs, who shall be helmed by Peppy Zapper here on the battle for Itza. And let's go ahead and break down the armies. Now, for the Tomb Kings, it is going to be double Boner Giant. Now, Boner Giants are not terrible against Dinos. They can really pick off large entity models, so like Kroxigors can do pretty well against Bastillodon units. One of the downsides of the Boner Giant builds, especially going for two of them, is you give up a ton of agency in the front line and can often lose on objectives, but if you can land those sweet shots, drag down the Kroxigors, maybe take out the Slan if he overextends, you can get your bread's worth for sure. And Homeboy's going to be going through Shopti as well, so he's going to be leaning very heavily into taking down the Kroxigors. We do have a Grand Hierophant Kotep, who's going to be Druid Sandstorm as well, or no, that's Usirian's Incantation of Vengeance. It's a really good spell. It's like a slightly more powerful, I don't know if I would say cost-effective, but a higher damage version of Melkoth. So yeah, it's going to be good. Slows you down, does damage, and we do have the Bound Sandstorm as well. Skeleton Spearman, couple Horsemen, and that's going to be it. Now for the army here of Peppy Zapper, Peppy going to be going for a big Kroxigor stuffing build. So all skinks to pay for a lot of Kroxigor. So it's going to be Kroxigor, and in the middle we do have some Sacred ones as well, which are always good to mix in because Sacred Kroxigors can beat down Ushopti and bigger targets, whereas regular Kroxigors have relatively low combat stats and rely on their bonus for his infantry. So the battle is on. The Boner Giants immediately getting some good value, picking off no Kroxigor models yet, but doing some considerable HP damage to these bad boys. So these guys are dragged down HP-wise. And the Screaming Skull Catapult's now being called out to bomb away the Skinks. But this is a really, really good start here for the Tomb Kings, actually, because they were able to secure the outside objectives. The Dinos, if you're going to be playing this style, definitely really want to go hardcore into triple capping your opponent to punish them for playing so defensively. And we do see a little bit of that on the other side from Peppy. He's going to be calling out some Skink Skirmishers, which should be able to move over towards Objective 3. And now the main battle line is going to be clashing here while the Ushopti Grey Post shoot. And it looks like there is going to be some Harry Potter witchcraft going down here. Actually, a net going down on Kotep. I don't know if there's going to be any hardcore follow-up. He should be able to get away, but we will see. So, Bone Giant Shafts shooting into the Kroxigors right there, while the Skeleton Spearman Phalanx is set up and prepare to hold. Shield of the Old Ones activated, and the Kroxigors are probably going to be given orders to push into the secondary line, at which point Mongo would want to have like Sepulchral Stalkers or Necropolis Knights with Halberds waiting back there, but overall, honestly, it's going pretty well for Mongo. He is able to get a really nice Druid Sandstorm right there, wrecking the Skinks. The Kroxigors are taking a ton of damage, and the Dinosaur player really just grinding into that front line, making some progress. Kotep is trapped up as well. And back on the middle side, Dinosaurs do have this objective, but the Tomb Kings have been able to hold on to the outside objectives here. Skink Skirmishers getting dove on by a combination of Skeleton Horse Archers as well as Carrion, so very good start there, and the Skeleton Horsemen going to be intercepting those. Now, will the Dinosaurs endure this beating? Oftentimes, builds like this from the Tomb Kings can go up to a big value lead out of the gates, but can kind of get whittled down. We're going to see if that's going to be the case here. One unit of Kroxigors does get hammered right there, and the old Slan Mage using Barona's Time Warp actually to speed some units up. Bone Giant's going to be on the retreat, a lot of cohorts on their way in, and on the outside, Feral Cold Ones are going to be moving forth to help these little Skink Skirmishers, who are pretty terrible in combat, but they are fighting some pretty heavy chaff units here, I guess units that aren't really designed for melee combat. So the Feral Cold Ones will make a nice difference in that fight when they do arrive for our Dino player. Meanwhile, the Kroxigor Rush going full balls deep here into the backfield, and this is a big way to do it. You can get those Bone Giants tied up in melee. They're pretty freaking awful in melee. You can see this guy's rocking 23 melee attack right now, which is just terrible, really. And his weapon strength is okay, but with that sort of melee attack, you're not going to be connecting super often. So now it does look like Peppy is catching up a little bit on value, sending over some Skink cohorts as well as Kroxigors to grab Objective 1. It's going to be good. Really got to focus on objectives. And here, ooh, nice Banishment coming in. So that Banishment going to be tickling the pickle of those Skeleton Horsemen, maybe freeing up some Kroxigors. And even the Battletoad is now in combat. So now the game's getting a little bit hog wild here, as the Lizards do finally kind of break through the front lines a little bit. Nice Banishment. Damn, that Banishment's so good. Still going strong. But these Kroxigors do stand at a bunch of spears. So there are spears nearby. Kotep is there, and the Phalanx of Nehekara will be arriving and getting their nice little prisoner chains, dragging down some of those Kroxigors, and we will see their HP slowly getting whittled down. Looks like a Blood Statue, despite activated from this land. Elsewhere on the battlefield, outside objective is slowly being taken by Dinosaurs, and right here, the Feral Cold Ones actually do kind of get defeated by the Horsemen as well as Carrion. So the 2v1 fight, they're able to get the job done. And it looks like on the backside, more Feral Cold Ones are going to be coming in. So up on the high ground point, it is owned by the Tomb Kings. Dinos, if they want to have a chance in this game, really need to flip this right now. It's already looking very tough for them as their army is very beat up, and they went very aggressive there. But here on the backside, Skeleton Horsemen are now called in. A very good unit in this matchup. Nehekara Horsemen, Skeleton Horsemen, honestly some of the strongest things on the roster for Tomb Kings, and how they win a ton of their domination games is through their light horseman play, because they're so cheap, they're unbreakable basically. No, crumbling, of course, isn't even that damaging. and they can get the job done. So middle objective is in flux, but it is being held by the dinosaurs, and the light cav core of the Tomb Kings continues to put this game on their back as red-crested skinks are called in, and we still have a huge pit fight going down back here, and we do see, oh, the Colossodon Hunter is very nice, ripping down the Boner Giant, getting a Bronus Time Warp as well, but the other Boner Giant with the Crossfire here and the Ushabti Great Bow is able to zero in on them and actually get some really good work done. So they're shaken and terrified. They're going to be taking off up into the sky. Cold-Blooded might be able to keep them on the battlefield, and it looks like they are going to be stabilizing here. And will they pile back in? So yeah, big old dive back here. 3,000 value against 6,000 value. Kotep going to be getting netted down again. Colossodon Hunters would definitely be very happy to get a charge on him, but it looks like they're going to be going after the Ushabti, which is also a great target. Boner Giant missing a shot right there. And now the Colossodon Hunter is going to be ripping and tearing. Getting through these Ushabti right there. Those guys getting it pretty good. Colossodon Hunters obviously would defeat them pretty decisively in combat, even their current state. But the Bone Giant trying to peel them off, but having trouble drawing line of sight. You know, he doesn't want to hurt his little Ushabti friends, and neither does this other Bone Giant. But it looks like he's going to find a way. Nope, no shot right there. Very, very tricky to peel these type of units off when they're in combat with like a big Bone Giant type piece. But here we see Kotep on the run, ladies and gentlemen. The value gap is being closed. It's been closed by about 700 or 800 right now. Looking at the current objective situation, dinosaurs do own objective number 2. And objective number 1 is also owned by the dinos as well. So they are getting in there. Tomb Kings only getting 1 victory taken. They are up on points, so they have a little bit of time to work with. Colossodon Hunter is paying huge dividends right now as they continue dragging down the Ushabti, chasing them, and the Necrotect has been called out. Now, typically, if you're going to bring a Necrotect, you always want to put him on his chariot and give him the Burning Vambraces. That item is insanely strong, one of the best items in the game, honestly. And you can use him as a restore character to heal your big constructs, but you also are going to want him to be able to really make a difference in combat. Because if he had the Burning Vambraces here, he would be debuffing the combat stats of these Colossodon Hunters by 20. So pretty nuts. But the Boner Giants get the job done. Looks like they peel off the big boys right there. High ground objective going to be taken by the Tomb Kings, and here in the middle, we do see the Nehekar Horsemen getting ready to fight Red-Crested Skinks. Now, if they get the charge off, the Nehekar Horsemen might actually win that. They're a really cost-effective cav unit. The reason why you see a lot of Tomb Kings players skip them, it looks like a little bit of a lapse there. They're going to get charged, but it's because they don't have Vanguard deployment. So oftentimes people opt into the basic Skeleton Horsemen, just kind of primarily use them, but I'm a huge enjoyer of the Nehekar Horsemen. Super good against lizards. They wreck the skinks, they wreck the skirmishers with their shields, and they trade reasonably well into Saurus with their high combat stats. Sepulchral Stalker is called out, and the objectives are still being heavily contested, but both Boner Giants do survive. And in my experience, Bone Giants are kind of an interesting one. You can unsummon them when they run out of ammo and get a pretty good little refund, or you can just go park them on an objective somewhere and use them as like a terror stick. In this situation, I don't know what he has in reserve, but yeah, the unsummon here probably is the correct play. That's going to give him 700-800 to work with, which you can use to call in like 2 cav units, a couple skeletons to really make more of a difference on the front line. So I do like that play there. All right, so Skeleton Horsemen here are getting bullied by the Kroxigors, and the Battletoad in the middle is enduring, and we still have a game on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. Value is only about 2,000 apart, which isn't that big of a difference. Certainly still could be kind of scary because a lot of your stopping power does come from the Bone Giants, and they've done pretty damn well this game. 1,600 value on this one. Homie's going to be setting up at the high ground, ripping a big shot into the Kroxigors right there. Nice one. Kroxigors do take a big old hammering as the Screaming Skull Catapults continue doing a great job, really, of wrecking these skink units. But in the middle, we do see old Kotep. He's in a little bit of trouble. So there he goes. Nero's Incantation of Protection is activated, giving him some Fizz Res, and the Sandstorm quite good, but he's going to want to get out of that situation, although it looks like he is going to get cooked up over there. All right, guys, on this side, big charge coming in from the Nehekar Horsemen, and we do see the Carrion swarming in too. The Red-Crested Skinks going to be getting it. Those guys going to get folded up pretty quickly, and you can see what I'm saying about Nehekar Horsemen and their stopping power against like these kind of DPS Berserker type units like Skinks, Red-Crested Skinks that is. They have low melee defense. They can really chew them up pretty damn good. On the backside, big Necrosphinx called in. Pretty rare you don't see the ROR one, although honestly in this matchup you don't really need the magic or fire damage too much, so the basic one is going to be fine, and that could be a breadwinner when that thing gets in there, and it could really potentially bully this land off the center of the map. And we do also see Sepulchral Stalkers being called in, another great choice in this matchup. They're great against monsters, good against Kroxigors at both range and melee, and a pretty disruptive unit overall. But here, this objective is going to be going to the Bone Daddies, and the Dinos holding on to the middle like it, like a dog with a bone here. Red-Crested Skinks and Kroxigors trading well. Bone Giant from downtown. Ooh, and Sepulchral Stalkers getting really, really nice volley fire, as we do see the Umbral Tide getting it. And the big old Sphinx is going to be hustling, but nice ambush back here, potentially by Peppy. Peppy able to get some Chameleon Stalkers in, and they are intercepted by some Horsemen, but they almost got that catapult offline. If they had, that would have been a really, really nice pick. All right, high ground. King skirmishers make it a play for it. A couple units of chaff pieces could probably intercept them and deal with them. Most likely would be very, very possible. Dinos are going to need to get another objective back. The points are very, very close in this game. Actually incredibly tight on points, but value trading does still favor Mongo. Mongo had a really good early game. That big fight over towards his Vanguard point was super decisive for him, and the Dino player did a good job continuing to push, finding some opportunities and getting back in the game by like taking down the Ushopti Great Bows a little bit. But overall, it's going to be a tough comeback here. We will see if they're going to be able to pull it off. All right, so Necrotect here, does he have the Burning Fan Braces? He does not, but the Big Sphinx is going to be able to chad this. Like I said, Kroxigors that do not have the, the basic Kroxigors with these spanking paddles, they are actually really, really just only good against infantry. I mean, they can fight big stuff. They're going to be a little bit subpar. They're going to be missing the Sphinx a lot because you're measuring the 40 melee defense of the Sphinx against like the 23 melee attack of those Kroxigors right now, which is really not a good trade for the Kroxis. And we do also see Spears coming in, Sepulchral Stalkers moving up, outside objective firmly controlled, and the Salamanders get a nice volley right there on the Nakar Horsemen. But are they going to get hunted down by these Stalkers here? We will see. High ground, a little bit of a ninja attempt, and it does look like Mongo's going to be responding by sending some Horsemen over here. Definitely doesn't want to give up this high ground point for free, although it looks like he doesn't quite notice it, so a little bit painful there, but not the end of the world. And this could be a game-winning play potentially, getting the big Necrosphinx to attack into this Land Mage. We'll see if he does. Looks like he's just going to rat off the Kroxigors first. Sepulchral Stalkers having a little bit of a firing exchange with these bad boys right here, while the Feral Cold Ones move in. Nice pouncing attack, and pretty cost-effective, throwing a cheap Feral Cold One into a rather expensive Sepulchral Stalker. Lighting him up here with the Umbral Tide. Not terrible at all, but I think this is going to be the straw that breaks the dinosaur's back. The sweet Slan of Lustria is going to get its bread buttered by the Big Sphinx here, and he's got 2,000 HP, but the Sphinx is going to be able to really chase him and get some good DPS on him. And for the rest of the army, does kind of look like it's falling apart a little bit here as we do look around. Horsemen are going to be able to stabilize the side point. High ground point does get flipped, but there is going to be responsive some horsemen nearby here. But just honestly, the value difference with the Lord getting karate chopped here is probably a little bit too much to come back from. A couple skeleton horsemen chasing down the stalkers there, and more horsemen are coming out. So you can see what I'm saying about Tomb Kings. Usually they don't start with a lot of mobility, but they end with it, that's for sure. So if you're playing against Tomb Kings, you want to index into some good, like, anti-cav units, anti-light cav units, like, things that can deal with skeleton horseman spam, Nakara horseman spam in the late game, and there goes the toad. It looks like he was sent back to the shadows from whence he came. Now we'll do a little bit of fast forwarding, see if there's any opportunities for the dinos to come back, but I seriously doubt it. They're kind of tabled off here. The Big Sphinx is going to be too strong. We get a late game kaiju fight. Homeboy called out the Geltblom's Terror. A surprise gem here in the late game. I love it. What a Chad. We're a big fan of Peppy here. But at the end, the Sphinx is probably going to win with the Spear support and have a good time there. On the outside, Feral Cold One's grinding it out. Big points lead coming in as it has been a triple cap for a minute. Nope, actually it looks like it was a double cap, but he is going to be getting this. And Mongo does have a lot of resources over here as well that are going to be returning to the battlefield in force, which should basically make it impossible for Homie to get enough capture weight. And we do have the Godzilla fight. Now in a straight fight, I think the Sphinx would win. Sphinxes are really good in tabletop too, by the way. They're one of the better units on the Tomb Kings roster. As far as when I was playing, they're really cool. I run 2 of them in a lot of my lists, and they get the job done. All right, so Geltblom's Terror here is getting it. -5 on the leadership, and the Sphinx is holding firm. So the big T-Rex, of course, his advantages is he's, I believe, quite a bit faster than the Sphinx and does have Vanguard deployment, so some big advantages, but is going to be losing this fight. And here, a couple little gremlins going to be grabbing the outside point there. A nice little ninja attempt, but yes, I think the last hoorah here with the Geltblom's Terror getting routed off is going to be all she wrote, and that will most likely be GG as the Sepulchral Stalkers cleaning up shop, and that's going to be victory for Mongo and the Tomb Kings. Now, cool narrative about this game. Mongo has been playing in tournaments. He told me that before this game, he was 0-12. Homeboy had not won a game yet in a tournament. This was his first tournament win. So we're here to celebrate it. He played like a champ. He did really good. And it's just, tournaments can be very daunting, right? Very, very sweaty, very scary. You see a lot of like world champion players playing. So it's easy to just get in there. And, myself, I can even get discouraged at times, especially when I play Skaven and go 1-4. But Mongo stuck through it. He played through 12 games of sweat and did get his win. And I'm sure his winning is going to be continuing here. So shout out to our boy Mongo. Absolute Chad getting it done. And well played to Peppy as well. A couple things I can give advice to both players. I think that if Peppy had gone wider, what he needed to do was deploy wider when he saw the double bone giants, triple cap his opponent aggressively, so send a cohort and a Kroxigor, so one cohort, one Kroxigor to each of the outside objectives, and then take the main force and grab the middle. And once you have all 3 objectives secured, you then bull rush your opponent, but you need to make sure those are secure. Because if you had, the score, I think Peppy ended up with like 800 points at the end. If he had his opponent triple cap during all that diving, he probably would have won the game. So little things here and there just little improvements can make a big difference. And as far as Mongo's army go, it's pretty hog wild. Very risky with the double boner giant, but he got away with it because of the outside objective control, and was able to play a nice late game with the horsemen. Also, probably replacing getting the burning van braces here. Aside from that, the build was fine. Double bone giant is risky, but it's a super fun playstyle to play, so I love it. And you could probably cut the Ushabti, to be honest. I think like if you have 2 bone giant, you're okay there. And replace this with a little bit more meat in your army to make sure that you're all right. Like, for example, you could get, I don't know, like some melee Shopti or something in the front line, maybe some Tomb Guard. There's a couple other choices you could experiment with to give you some more clearing power against that mass. All right, guys, GG, well played. See you around, and that's going to be it for today.